vehicle. I don't see any colored puddles, which would indicate a leak. Going back to the top of my vehicle, I have 3 clearance lights that are amber in color. Crossover lights. The outer 2 are red in color. The inner 2 are amber in color. I have 2 turn signals / 4-way flashers that are amber in color. And I have headlights that are clear in color. My headlights work on 2 functions, low beam and high beam. There is no water condensation. All of my lights are properly attached to the vehicle, not chipped, cracked, or broken. Were warped properly upon activation. I'm going to my mirrors now. So I have my flat, convex, and crossover mirrors. They're properly attached to the brackets. The brackets are properly attached to the vehicle. My mirrors are not chipped, cracked, or broken. My brackets are not bent, cracked, or broken. They're not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws. The wires are not cut, sliced, or frayed. My windshield properly attached to the vehicle. It's not chipped, cracked, or broken. The rubber seal is not dry rotted or corroded. My registration sticker, my inspection sticker, and my tag are all properly attached to the vehicle. Clean, clear, and up to date. My safety arm and my tow hooks are properly attached to the vehicle. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. They will work properly upon activation. My windshield wipers. My arm is properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. It has the proper tension. The blade is not dry rotted or corroded. The hose is not dry rotted or corroded. And there's no leak. Now I'm going under the hood. Thank you. Alright. My electrical wiring is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not cut, sliced, or frayed. All of my hoses are properly attached to the vehicle. My rubber hoses are not dry rotted or corroded, and my metal hoses are not bent, cracked, or broken. There's no leaks. I have my coolant reservoir and my power steering reservoir, my oil dipstick and my transmission dipstick. They're all properly attached to the vehicle. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. Both of my caps on my reservoirs are tightly fit. In order to get the proper measurement for my coolant, I will reference my sight glass. In order to get the proper measurement for my power steering, my oil, and my transmission, I will remove the dipstick, wipe it off, reinsert it for a second time. It should read full. If it does not read full, I'm going to add the necessary fluids to top it off. Then I'm going to start with my engine parts. I have 4 engine parts, 2 gear driven and 2 belt driven. I have my gear driven air compressor and governor, and sitting right behind it I have my gear driven power steering pump. Both are properly attached to the vehicle. They are not bent, cracked, or broken, not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws, and there's no leaks. On the other side, I have my belt-driven parts. I have my belt-driven alternator and my belt-driven water pump. Both are properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken, not missing any nuts or bolts. And then the wires on my alternator are not cut, sliced, or frayed. My water pump has no leaks. My V-belt is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not cut, sliced, or frayed. It has no more than 3/4 an inch down the center of the belt. My steering system. I have my steering shaft, my U-joint, my gear-driven steering gearbox, my pitman arm, my drag link, my steering knuckle. They're all properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. My steering shaft has no excessive play. The U-joint is free of debris and properly greased. My gearbox has no missing nuts or bolts and no leaks. My pitman arm, drag link, and steering knuckle are all held together by 3 cotter pins and 3 castle nuts. My suspension. I have my frame from front to back properly attached to the vehicle. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. It has no illegal welds. My spring hanger, my leaf spring, my shock absorber, my U-bolt, my leaf mount, my axle, and my tie rod are all properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. I have no shifted and or missing leaves. My shock absorber has no leaks, and the rubber bushing is not dry rotted or corroded. My braking system, I have my brake hose, my brake line, my brake chamber, my slack adjuster, my push rod, my brake pads and lining. All are properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. My chamber has no leaks. My hose has no leaks. My wire is not cut, sliced, or frayed. My slack adjuster, with the brakes released and my wheels chalked, I will pull it by hand. It should move no more than 1 inch. The drum has no illegal welds, and then the pads are not excessively worn thin and free of contaminants. Now, I'm going to go to my tire. My steering tire cannot be recapped, regrooved, retreaded, and or mix matched. It needs to have at least 430 seconds of tread depth. The tread is evenly worn. My sidewall has no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and there's no wires exposed. My tire is properly attached to my rim. My rim is not bent, cracked, or broken. It has no illegal welds. My lug nuts are not bent, cracked, or broken. I see no shininess or runny rust around the base, which would indicate a loose lug. My hub oil seal, properly attached to the vehicle, is not bent, cracked, or broken. It's not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws. The cap is tightly fit. In order to get the proper measurement, I will remove the cap and insert my pinky finger. My valve stem, properly attached to the vehicle, it's not bent, cracked, or broken. The cap is tightly fit and I hear no leaks. Closing. All right. My fuse box, properly attached to the vehicle. All of my fuses are properly attached. My wires are not cut, sliced, or frayed. I am not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws, and my spare 6 fuses are here in this box as well. My battery box. My batteries are properly attached to the vehicle. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. The bar is not bent, cracked, or broken. It has no excessive corrosion around the terminals, and the wires are not cut, sliced, or frayed. At the top of my vehicle, I have 3 clearance lights. The first 2 are amber in color. The last one is red in color. I have 2 turn signals and 4-way flashers. The first one is amber in color. The last one is red in color. And I have 3 reflectors. The first 2 are amber in color. The last one is red in color. All are properly attached to the vehicle, not chipped, cracked, or broken, and will work properly upon activation. My stop signs are both properly attached to the vehicle. Neither are bent, cracked, or broken. The lights are not chipped, cracked, or broken. It's not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws. The wires are not cut, sliced, or frayed, and it will work properly upon activation. Underneath my bus, I have my drive shaft, the hanger, and the U-joint. All are properly attached to the vehicle. They are not bent, cracked, or broken. My U-joint is properly greased and free of debris. I'm going to inspect my braking system and my suspension system the same way I did on my front axle. However, back here I have my leaf hanger, my spring leaf, my U-bolt, and my mount, and my shock absorber. Back here on my braking system, I have my brake hose, my brake line, my brake chamber. Even though I cannot see my slack adjuster and push rod, which sits behind it, I know that it's there. My brake pads and my brake drum are also on the inside of my tire. I'm going to inspect my drive tires the same way that I did my steering tires, with the exceptions of, first, my butted space is free of debris and the rims are touching. These tires can be recapped, regrooved, retreaded, and or mix match. They also need to have at least 230 seconds of tread gap. And the other difference would be that I have a axle seal back here. My axle seal is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. It's not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws, and there's no leak. Behind my tire here, I have my air bellow. My air bellow is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not dry rotted or corroded, and I hear no leaks. My mud flap, properly attached to the vehicle, not dry rotted or corroded, and 6 inches off of the ground. All right. At the rear of my vehicle, I have my strobe light first. It's on the top. It is clear in color. I have 3 clearance lights that are red in color. I have 4 crossover lights. The outer 2 are red, the inner 2 are amber in color. I have 2 turn signals and 4-way flashes that are amber in color. My brake lights are red in color. My reverse lights are clear in color, and my service lights are red in color. My reflectors are also red in color back here. All are properly attached to the vehicle, not chipped, cracked, or broken, will work properly upon activation. My reflective tape, properly attached to the vehicle, not cut, sliced, or torn. My emergency door, the door and handle are properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. The hinges are not bent, cracked, or broken, which will allow me to open and close my door freely from the inside and out. My exhaust pipe, properly attached to the vehicle. My exhaust pipe is not bent, cracked, or broken, and I see no black soot, which would indicate an exhaust leak. I'm going to inspect this side of my bus the same way as I did that side of my bus, with the exceptions of my storage compartment. My storage compartment is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. It will allow me to open and close the door freely. My fuel tank is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. The cap is tightly fit and there is no leaks. My service doors, properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. The glass is not chipped, cracked, or broken. The rubber seal is not dry rotted or corroded. It will allow me to open and close the door from the inside and out. My handrails, properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken, not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws. My step light is clear in color, properly attached to the vehicle, not chipped, cracked, or broken, and will work properly upon activation. My steps are properly attached to the vehicle. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. They are free of debris, and the tread is not excessively worn. While I'm right here, I'm going to go ahead and address my emergency equipment. I have my ABC fire extinguisher, which is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. The needle is in the green, which tells me that it's fully charged. I have my 3 reflective triangles. They're properly attached to the vehicle, not bent, cracked, or broken. My first aid kit and my bodily fluid kit are both properly attached to the vehicle and has the proper necessities. All of my seats are properly attached to the vehicle, or properly attached to the brackets. The brackets are properly attached to the vehicle. The brackets are not bent, cracked, or broken, not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws. The seats are not cut, sliced, or torn. My emergency exit door, with my engine on and the handle activated, this buzzer will sound. My emergency light, door light, is red in color, properly attached to the vehicle, is not chipped, cracked, or broken, and it will work upon activation. All of my windows are properly attached to the vehicle. The windows are not chipped, cracked, or broken. The frames are not bent, cracked, or broken. I have 4 emergency windows on both sides of my bus. The latches to my emergency windows are not bent, cracked, or broken, and will allow me to open and close it freely. Also, with this window activated and my engine on, the buzzer will sound. My overhead emergency exit is properly attached to the vehicle. The hinges are not bent, cracked, or broken. It works on 3 functions: open or partially opened, all the way opened, and all the way off. Okay? My seat belt, properly attached to the vehicle. It's not cut, sliced, or torn. I'm now going to conduct my safe start. All right. Starting with my left panel, I'm going to check all of my heaters. So I have my rear heaters. I have my regular heaters, and then I have my defrosters. Okay, all work properly upon activation. My interior lights work properly upon activation. My fans work properly upon activation. My gauges, all of my gauges, my transmission gauge, my water pressure gauge, and my water temperature gauge, my oil pressure gauge are all rising to normal operating range. My voltmeter is in between 12 and 14, and my air pressure gauges should be in between 120 and 125 psi, and that's at resting. My fuel tank has about a quarter of fuel in it, and then my steering wheel. My steering wheel has no more than 10 degrees play one way or the other. That also equates to 2 inches one way or the other. My horn works properly. My left turn signal indicator, my right turn signal indicator, my four-way flasher indicators, my low beams, and my high beam indicators are all working properly. I am now...
How about clearance? Clearance.
We're not there yet. Clearance doesn't come up on me. My student light, my student mirror. My student mirror is properly attached to the vehicle. It's not chip, cracked, or broken. The rubber seal is not dry, rotted, or corroded. And it's adjusted to my liking, as well as my other mirrors. They're adjusted to my liking. Can you come up? As you can see, my door works properly. Now I'm going to conduct my braking test. So I'm going to turn my vehicle off and then back to the on position. As you can see, my lights are on and they're going to go off. Okay? Now, I am first going to check for my, I'm checking for air leaks. Okay? My vehicle should not lose no more than 3 PSIs in 1 minute. With my parking brake pushed in and my brake on the service, my foot on the service brake. Can you time me?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold it here for 1 minute. I'm checking my air pressure gauges to make sure that it's not losing no more than that 3 PSIs in 1 minute. Once the inspector or examiner tells me that it's time, I'm gonna go ahead and tell them I did not lose no more than 3 PSIs in 1 minute. I am now going to begin my fan downs, checking my low air pressure warning signals and my spring brakes. So at around 60 PSI, my low air pressure warning signals should come on. As you can see, both lights came on. You can hear the beep. At around 30 PSI, my parking brake should pop out. My parking brake has popped out, which tells me that my spring brakes are working properly.
What type of check was this again?
This was the low air pressure warning signals and the spring brake. Okay. Now I'm going to rebuild my air pressure. So I know it takes a little bit of time, but I'm going to assist with rebuilding my air pressure by putting my foot on the accelerator and not allowing my RPMs to exceed no more than 15. At around 60 PSI, my warning lights should go out and the buzzer should stop sounding. Both of my warning lights have gone out and the buzzer stopped sounding, telling me that my low air pressure warning signals are working properly. At around 120 to 140 PSI, my governor should cut out.
Where is that indicator?
Right here. You watching these videos?
120 to 140?
Normally on this bus it cuts out at around 120. There it is. Okay. So my governor has cut out, which tells me that my air tanks are full. Now I'm going to check my parking brake. I'm gonna put my vehicle in gear. I'm gonna hit the accelerator. All right. My vehicle did not move, which tells me that my parking brakes are working properly. In order to check my service brakes, I would need to unchalk my wheels. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna unchalk my wheels, I'm gonna put them behind my seat, and I'm gonna come and sit back in my seat, put my seatbelt back on. In order for me to check my service brake, I'm gonna put my vehicle in gear, push in my parking brake, move no more than 5 miles per hour, and then put my foot on the service brake. Come to a slow, complete stop, okay? My vehicle did not lean left or right, which tells me that my service brakes are working properly. Now, can you assist me with checking my exterior lights? So, the examiner is going to go outside. Some asked you on the bus, which lights are you going to check? Some just go outside and watch you check your lights. So, I'm going to start from the top, which would be my clearance lights. Then, I'm going to do my crossovers. Okay, all right, my crossovers are working. Then I'm going to check my turn signals, my four-way flashers, my headlights, and my high beams, okay? Then, at the back of my bus, I'm going to check my strobe light first. The switch is over here, okay? I'm going to check my clearance lights again, okay? Then I'm going to check my crossovers again. So those are for my ambers, and then that's for my reds, okay? Then I'm going to check my brake lights, in which on this bus you have to have your headlights on in order for your brake lights to come on. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake. The red lights should come on. They're telling me up here that they're on, okay? Then I'm going to check my reverse lights. As you can see up here, they're on. And my service lights also come on with my brake lights, okay? I have now completed my pre-trip inspection.
I have a question.